Hey, my legion, how y'all doing today? I'm here today to review The Witch. I saw this. I'm going to upload this Monday night. I saw this Sunday night with my good high school buddy John Walkowitz, and then we went to Golden Corral, and I uploaded the Golden Corral video. And right there, see right there, the picture my sister did a long time ago, back in the early '90s. And she actually painted that herself. Well, anyways, The Witch, and The Witch is like a dividing rod. I like to call that a dividing rod movie. It's one of the movies that either you'll love it or you'll hate it. Love it or like, when I say love it, means love it, like it, or hate it, like The Babadook. Now, when I remember reviewing The Babadook, I end up hearing so many people saying they hated that movie. This is like that in some ways. On RottenTomatoes.com, they had the critics, what the critics think and what the audience thinks. 89% of critics liked it. Only 52% of audience members like it. It is different from what it portrays in the ads. Now, what this is like, my friend described it because he said, John described it because he said some of his friends saw it, and he says it's like a slow burn of a movie. It takes a while to get going. Actually, it's set back in 16th century England, during like the Salem witch trials. And this one family is banished from this one community, so they have to go out in this rural area and set up their own camp and stuff, set up a house and stuff, and try to grow food and stuff. And the one thing about this is the cinematography is really good. Like when they showed inside that at the beginning of the movie when they were exiled, they were in this court. You could tell that the only light they have electricity back then was from the light coming in from all the windows around the courthouse. I mean, it's very, very convincing and also very, very well acted, fantastically acted, and it's spoken in Old English. Sometimes it's a little hard to understand what they're saying, thee and thou, but I mean, even more so. I mean, it's very well done. All the actors do a fantastic job. And along with the family, I give away no spoilers. Something really screwed up happens with a baby that bothered me. I mean, because in horror films, whenever they mess with babies, it bothers me. I've seen so many horror films, when they start messing with babies or like animals and stuff, it always bothers me. I think it's supposed to get a reaction from the crowd. And I was saying in a review, well, that's probably the only thing that's going to be messed up. There's a lot of messed up, disturbing things that happen in this movie. It takes a while to get going. I mean, it really is. It builds up tension. And like Jeremy John says, this is a movie about tension. It builds up tension until the final act. But I give away no spoilers. It's really good, and there's lots of fucked up shit in it. And the thing is, for me, I made a mistake. And it actually worked in my favor for the movie. It made the movie a little more intense for me, and I didn't know about it. I originally thought the movie was PG-13. I don't know why. So with PG-13, especially horror films, there's nothing wrong with PG-13 at all, but a lot of times with a horror film, sometimes they can only show so much, and that's it. That's why I expect with this one, it's like, I kept seeing these things like, how is this in a PG-13 rated movie? It has to be R-rated. And I found out later on, it was R-rated at the end of the movie. And I met two people too. I'll get on that later. But this is a great movie. But it's either a love it or hate it film. It's fantastic. I mean, if they would have screwed up the location, if it didn't look like it was set in the time it was, or if the acting was bad, the movie probably been ruined. Just like I saw a movie, American Haunting, a long time ago, which I absolutely hated. All the period piece stuff looked fake and phony to me. And the acting, it wasn't that good, even though they had Donald Sutherland and Sissy Spacek in it. Oh, I hated that movie. I mean, that movie was a complete fail to me. But this movie is really, really good. But it's very screwed up, though, in lots of parts, and lots of disturbing stuff happens in it. Especially in the middle of the movie, it lets you off the hook a little bit, but there's always this tension, and sometimes I felt like I was getting a little restless. It's like the tension keeps building and building and building. I thought it was really good. Like I said, it's a love it or hate it movie. Like the people behind us, even John heard him saying that some people said it was stupid, and one person said it was really weird or good but weird, and some people didn't like it. And the one thing is, it's called it says The Witch, a New England fairy tale, and it's kind of like based on. They said taken from the original transcripts back then. They used the real language that they used, very convincing. And also, it's like a take on some fairy tales like Hansel and Gretel and Little Red Riding Hood, but different, very different. But I'm not giving away any spoilers. But I really enjoyed the film, so I have to give it a full-on 10 out of 10. It's very effective, and then whenever it really gets going, it kind of has an effect on you. At least it did to me. I mean, it did to some people, I assume. From what I heard, people not liking it. But I did enjoy the movie, and also I met two people. Hold on, let me find it. Yeah, I met I made two new friends today. Because they asked how I liked the movie, and make sure I get the names right. Yeah, Damien and Darlene, two great people, and Damien was saying that he was big on horror films, and he was talking about movies like Troll. The original Troll, and John Walkwith thought he was talking about Troll Hunter, but he was talking about the original Troll. And I told him that I was told him about the second one, which is notoriously bad, and they had a documentary saying the worst movie ever made, a documentary about it, and he was bringing up Manos: The Hands of Fate, and he said that's a really bad one. I heard it's really bad. I've never seen it though, but he was also talking about really good ones like Demonoid. It was cool because I remember that Samantha Agar, and he said yeah. That's a good movie. And then I brought up the Oliver Stone film. If I'm not mistaken, it's the first movie that Oliver Stone directed was The Hand, starring Michael Caine. A really good one of my favorites. And and it was cool. We were talking about old school films, and he said that told him about my channel and stuff. And John told him about the Horror Fest, and they're definitely made two new friends today. And I friended them on Facebook and stuff. It was really cool. But like I said, The Witch gets a full on 10 out of 10 to me. Very effective film. Lots of screwed up stuff happens in it. And along with that, I want to give you a bonus movie review because I saw a movie that finally saw it, but I had lots of trouble finding it. And the very first Decline of West Civilization. Now, as far as this movie is concerned, directed by Penelope Spheris, back in when I was in Germany in 1990 or 89, they had a thing on Columbia video called Decline of West Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years. Now, I remember I saw this. I've seen this at least 10 times. It's a great documentary about metal, and and they showed like Ozzy and stuff like that at breakfast, which was weird at the time. But then when the show The Osbournes came out, became like, well, we seen this, and we seen them just chilling out at home. Well, apparently she did a first one, of course, because that's part 2, and I was always curious about it. And the first one delves into the world of punk rock. Now, the weird thing is, she did a part 3 a few months back that was on Turner Classic Movies that was made in 98, which I didn't know about, and it started talking about the punk movement somewhat being in a resurgence, but it was like alienated youth and homeless kids. It was very strange, very different from the other ones, and I remember I saw that on TCM, but this one, it was made, the original one she made, I think it launched her career as a filmmaker because she did some other ones, and then she went on some real fame and stardom doing like The Wayne's World and Beverly Hillbillies and Little Rascals and like Black Sheep, and no, Black Sheep ain't no good. But this one is about the punk movement, and she said it was like filmed between 79 and 1980, released in 1981. It had bands like Black Flag, The Germs, X, Amy's Brown Bag Band or something like that. X was in it. Fear was in it. Circle Jerks was in it. And some of the bands really suck, especially The Germs. But I know some of the bands I like. The ones I've heard of before are Black Flag, Circle Jerks, and X. And X actually had some hit songs. And Amy's Brown Bag Band was alright. It's a very It's not a bad film at all. It's nowhere near as good as the Metal Years, which that's the one that's my favorite. Um, and it ended with the band Fear, and I guess Fear was like taunting the crowd, insulting the crowd, and then some of the crowd were in there trying to start a fight with them. And the weird thing was they said, this is our hit song, the one that we made all the money with. It was I Love Living in the City. And I was like, they did that song because I remember SOD did an album called Live at Budokan, where they have like a small set. This was back in '93. They only had that 20-minute album, so they had some other songs. They did some cover songs, and one of them was I Love Living in the City, and that was an old punk song. I didn't know that from Fear. This wasn't a bad film. It dragged at times. It's so-so. It's nowhere near as good as the Metal Years, but it's not a bad film. I'd probably give this 7 out of 10, basically because like there's two bands in there that really suck. The Germs and this one other band that I can't remember the name of that I didn't mention. They both sucked real bad. That's what really hurt the movie. Aside from that, there's a lot of entertaining stuff in it, but I mean, it only gets a 7 out of 10. The Metal Years was the best one. So there you have it for my reviews of The Witch, and then my bonus review of Decline of West Civilization Part 1, and that's like the punk rock one. And then this one guy said New Wave doesn't exist. Well, that's a bunch of shit. I mean, there was a big New Wave movement back in the early 80s. Bands like my favorite bands of all time, Devo. And that guy was full of shit. So, yeah, I didn't listen to him. But there you go, and I hope you liked this review. Very long-winded review. That's why I use the webcam for these. Some people say I go on and on, but I do like talking some. And I like talking to my friends. But shout-outs to my friend John Walkowitz. Shout-outs to Damon, and I hope that's pronounced right. Damien and Darlene also that I met. Great people, and thank you very much. And I like talking to you guys after the movie. It was cool. Thank you, John. It was cool. I'm glad that we went out again, because I said, like, I'm on vacation this week. And if you want to, because he works nights, we're reconnecting after all these years, And it was cool. We went there and went to Golden Corral. We ate way too much at Golden Corral. But that's the way it goes sometimes. But it was very good, though. So, until next time, everybody, please, as always, take care, my Legion. Oh, and a special, special thank you to Tony Talent, too, for making a cool thumbnail. Thank you, Tony, very much. So, until next time, like I said, take care, everybody. Bye. Yay! And also, a very special thank you to my friend Tim Sands, who also did a thumbnail for The Witch that came out just before I was about ready to upload this movie. I wanted to edit it into the movie. So, thank you very much, Tim. My very first subscriber ever, and like I said, take care, my Legion.